Ian, you admitted after Burton that self-confidence is low among the players. Have they needed picking up at all this week in training?
Yeah, a little bit. I think always when you've been in a bad run of form, you need to pick the players up and help them out. But we sit down, we've broken into small groups, had a lot of discussions around the areas that we want to improve at, and players have been great. You know, they came back in on Monday with energy. They want to put it right, and have trained really well this week.
And obviously confidence is a mental thing, but the natural inclination of footballers and football people is to work hard on the training field. How can physical work actually then help the mental side?
I think just succeeding a little bit. So I think it's really important that we go to task on the things that we want to do, see some progression on the training pitch, work hard at those things. I think the players enjoy and love playing football. Sometimes they forget that when the stress levels get higher, so they forget they're actually coming into training and doing a job that they love, because you start to think that you love it a bit less when you don't do well. So trying to remind them of the reasons why they enjoy playing and break it down that way. And I think when you start to get that, they start to embrace the sessions a little bit and take a lot more on board. And
in that way, is it good to have a full week's training?
Yeah, I think we've needed it, because you look at what we had in the pre-season, and obviously we had a lot of players that we train with and work with during the pre-season have picked up injuries, have picked up knocks, and actually a lot of the things that we work together with, it's a new group of players. And we haven't had that long on the training pitch with them. They've been, some of them lads like Christian Marquez, Miles Pert-Harris, Brian Fiabima have been thrown straight in at the deep end with little to no training and with the team and straight into matches. So for those young lads to get up to speed, I think these training weeks are invaluable.
And you mentioned those youngsters there. Obviously experience at this point of a season, in terms of the run of form, is pretty important. Can the experienced players that you've got step up around them?
Yes, they can, but we don't have so many. I think it's important to remember that. I think I looked at the squad. I think the average age is around 23 for our squad. It's a very young squad. We have probably 3 players that have played consistently League One or higher. Connor Wickham, David Davis, Reece Brown. There's not many more that have got vast amount of experiences at this level. So it's new club, new level, young players, inexperience. So it's really, really important that that it's not only the onus on the experienced players, it's an onus on all of us just working together.
Yeah, I guess you're trying to fast track that experience process into people, aren't you? Which obviously takes time. Can the likes of Jamil Matt in the background, I know he's injured, but can he have an influence for good as well behind the scenes still?
He's been brilliant. He's been around the lads. He's contributed a lot to things also that can help us get better in and around. He talks to some of the younger players. So some of the guys that are off, and Bailey Cargill's been that way as well. Bailey's been obviously out injured. He's back now and is trained really well. But during the period where he was out, he contributed a lot around the dressing room. So we've needed some of that as well. The lads that, and I think it helps them, because even though they're not playing, they want to feel like they can be an asset to the team.
And talking of those injured players and those returning, what is the progress then on the walking wounded and those trying to recover?
Yeah, it's looking healthier than it was. So we've had Harry Boyes in training pretty much the whole week. I think he's in contention for the squad at the weekend. Bailey Cargill is the same. Jamil Matt's been back out on the pitch and running, so he's not ready, but he's started to make quite quick progress, so maybe a couple of weeks for him. So we're starting to feel like we're getting a little bit more balance in the squad, some important members back, which is going to be really important for us.
And you mentioned Harry there. Obviously he went back when he got injured. How much have you been able to get him integrated and sort of up to speed with what you do here?
Yeah, he's a great lad. He's a pretty social kid, and he's straight in, first day of training, back in and talking, communicating, and he's a confident boy. He came in, we only had him a week, and then obviously he got injured and went back to Sheffield United. So it's kind of like a new signing for us, really, because we haven't had him at any moment. So to get him in is brought a little bit of energy to the group.
Bolton obviously played on Tuesday night, lost at Cheltenham. Have Cheltenham kind of shown you a way in which Bolton can be beaten, or have they just made them angry for you?
Maybe a bit of both. I was at the game. Cheltenham played very well, fully deserved the win. They were extremely competitive in there. didn't really give Bolton too much time on the ball. I've watched Bolton against Lincoln earlier. They got a lot of space and time, and when they got that, they're a really, really good footballing team. When they get the ball down and they're given space and time, they're excellent. The patterns of play are brilliant. So for us, it's really important that we can take some lessons from that, because we saw how Cheltenham managed to get the upper hand, but Bolton are going to go away and work on that so that it doesn't happen again. So we know that it's going to be a really competitive Bolton side that comes.
And Bolton dominated possession but had very few chances. So, I mean, that's almost more like an away performance from Cheltenham in terms of how people would expect things to be. Is that something that you can feel that you could do here, of sort of maybe concede possession but be more efficient with your chances when you get them? Because obviously the home form is not as good as the away form at the moment.
I think we have to do a bit of both. I think if you take the Ipswich game as an example, I think the first half in that game, we were playing more like an away team. We were low. We were trying to deny some space. They scored 2 really impressive goals. But in the second half, we took the shackles off and attacked them a little bit and got a lot more from it. So I think we've got to take our chances to attack when we get the opportunity, but understand that there'll be moments where we have to be compact, low, and disciplined.
Finally, Ben Stevenson went off with a knock on Saturday at Burton. How is he?
Fine, yeah. It was just an impact injury, so he obviously had to come off in that moment. He had the day off on Monday from training, but he was back in and trained Tuesday, Wednesday.